changing face of education. A lot of people think the face of education isn't changing because they look at the secondary school, a high school, and say, that's what it was like when I was there. Except if you go into the high school and you go into the classrooms, you'll realize it's not even remotely like it was when you were there. So what I want to talk to you about is three things. Why is it changing? What's the direction of the change? And how is the change occurring? And ask, where has the greatest progress been made and where is the best instruction provided? The answer is in kindergarten. And then as you get into secondary, it lags a bit, and as you get into university, it lags a lot. But the direction is exactly the same. The intention is exactly the same. The perceived problem is exactly the same. So why are things changing? Well, here's an obvious answer. Technology. You know, there are more people involved in scientific research and technology today than have existed in the history of the world in that area. The number of scientists now is greater than the total number of scientists has added up since the dawn of time. And the rate of change in research and discovery is accelerating all the time. So the developments in science and technology are changing the world around us completely. They're changing the world of work. They're changing the way we buy stuff. They're changing the way we communicate. They're changing our politics. They're changing the structure of communities. They're changing even the way people relate to each other. So as technology changes what it means to transport and how transport occurs, whether you're in a train or a plane or a ship or a car or a bike or a boat, this technology is going to change the lived experience of your students and of all of us over the course of the next few years. But you cannot imagine that this is not going to happen within a decade. It's impossible to imagine that the students you're training now are not going to live and work in this world. They're not going to live in this world now, the way it is now. They're going to live in a world that is radically different. And the fruits of your labor, of your education, don't matter 1 year after they get out. Yeah, they have to get a job immediately. But when we find out if we've done a good job is 10 and 15 years down the line, when we find out if our students are still thriving. Are they still competent? Are they still keeping up? Have they kept on learning? Because the world is changing rapidly all around us, and it's going to keep changing. And if you stand still in a world that is changing, you fall behind. You have to be able to get along with other people. You have to be able to appreciate other perspectives and not argue with them all the time, but accommodate each other and collaborate and work in teams. Almost nobody now works on their own. Everybody works in teams, and those teams are rapidly changing. You have to learn how to collaborate, get along, communicate with people. And if you pass that on and they said it back, you gave them a high mark and said, you know all that stuff now, way you go. They might know a lot, but not be competent at anything. The content is not the goal. The content is the means of achieving the goal. We teach reading and writing and arithmetic and science and history in order to create an educated person. And what is an educated person? It's somebody who can communicate, who can think, who can get along with other people, who can collaborate, who can express themselves, who listens well. Knowing a lot of stuff, that's in my pocket. I can get what knowledge anytime, anywhere, immediately. Using knowledge, working with other people, these, what used to be called soft skills, are now the real skills. They're the hard skills. If all you've got is a big body of knowledge and a few things you can do well, you're not ready. Not for the world as it is. It's a fast-paced, pluralistic, turbulent, changing, confusing, ambiguous, exciting world of opportunity, but only if you can swim in that ocean. Why are things changing? Because society and the workplace are changing rapidly, completely, in every conceivable way. And because the students themselves are changing. They're changing in what we need to provide for them, but they're also changing in their expectations, and they're changing in the way they look at things, interact with each other, and interact with their learning. If you don't change in this environment, you are simply going to become irrelevant. The world will pass you by. And that applies to all aspects of life and to all levels and types of education. It's nothing unique to K-12. It's not unique to university. It's not unique to this institution. It's global. Every educational system is challenged by this reality. And as you know, a lot of people don't like change. In fact, to be honest, nobody likes change. We all hate change. It's not comfortable. Why can't we just stay the same? Because we're good at what we do. But we have to change. And that is the challenge. And that's why the face of education is changing.